Good morning, good morning. Good morning, community. Good morning. For those of you who are about to jump on with me and get ready to dive into this word, I apologize for running behind just a little bit. Like, how do you run behind this early in the morning? But I was trying to get some other things posted for you. And I have a few things posted, a few things coming up that are great for the community, and they are a way of me actually actualizing for myself the very things that I am telling you about as it relates to this being our year of breakthrough. So as you're jumping in with me, I ask you to go ahead and tag a girlfriend, and we're going to get started. There's some beautiful things that the Lord's desiring to do for us this year, and I want to do my part to make sure that in as much as the community is concerned and in as much as the downloads are concerned that the Lord gives me, that's deposited to you. So if you'll go ahead and tag another queen friend, and we're going to get ready to get started. This morning's focus is from malfunctioning to manifestation. That doesn't sound like some good stuff? From malfunctioning to manifestation. That's what we desire. We desire to manifest this year. And so we're going to examine a few things. Now, last week when we finished our lesson, we were talking about the first step in this process that I've committed to teaching, which is how to silence the silence, how to deal with the noise that comes way over in the night when you're resting, or when you're driving in the car by yourself and you can find yourself kind of pause at that traffic light or the light, trying to sort through those different thoughts that come to kind of taunt us. And so what was very interesting and very first honorable is in our assignment on last week, it said, talk to us on our application assignment. And I was moved by the depth of transparency and honesty that women offered to the community. There were women who talked about feeling thoughts of rejection, that rejection is one of their thoughts, that they really have to deal with and sort through, feeling as if they're going to fail. Some said that even from childhood, they'd always been told that they would not be successful. And so if you have not joined into that activity, you may want to go and put yours out into the atmosphere as well. And why do we do that? Well, a dear mentor friend of mine, Terry Theos, has often talked about the power of silence. Now, even in the spiritual realm, the word says that we overcome by the word of our testimony. When we speak things out into the atmosphere in victory, and we speak things out in confidence. Well, even in our natural world, when we're dealing with certain thoughts and certain issues, the enemy often tries to keep us silent so that we can feel as if we are the only one. But when we put it out into the atmosphere, it does something for us, and then it does something for our sister who perhaps may be feeling that way as well. So we did some work with just putting that thought, that thing that attempts to plague our mind, we put it out into the atmosphere to take away the power of it and kind of holding us hostage and saying, don't talk about it. And then it also helps sisters who have come along and read and added theirs as well. So again, that was posted last week. And that is the premise from which we go into step number 2 today, okay? Under from malfunctioning to manifestation, and this whole silencing the silence work. Then I'll give context for that quickly and move into the lesson. Why are we doing the silencing the silence? Well, I will continue to say to you what the Lord has spoken to me, and continue to speak this over your life as well. This is our year of breakthrough. You're listening right now or listening in the replay, continue to capture that in your spirit and in your heart. This is our year of breakthrough. You have to continue to remind yourself of that, regardless of what you see, regardless of what is being said, whatever is happening all around you. This is our year of breakthrough. Do you receive that? This is our year of breakthrough. Do you receive that for yourself? I'm going to go ahead and move this just a little bit. This is my year. Let's go ahead and personalize that. This is my year of breakthrough. Now, over the weekend, I was thinking about our lesson, just really sitting with the Lord. Good morning to those of you who are joining. If you'll go ahead and tag a queen friend, I'll circle back shortly just to acknowledge even all of that. So this weekend, I was thinking about the community and what the Lord has been speaking about breakthrough and sensing it. And I already do the disclaimer where we say that frequently, right? Where we say, this is my year, and then we get to the end of the year and many people feel that way. I say that every single year. What is different about this year? This year, what is different is that we are being more intentional from day one, from the first lessons here in the community, about equipping ourselves to really receive the manifestation of the blessing. So this weekend, I was like, oh, just excited about it. Like, yeah, this is my year. This is my year. This is my year. I'm going to go get my blessing. And I am telling you, it is as if Daddy God put his hand on my shoulder. You know, like when you're getting ready to run, a kid is getting ready to run off, and you put your head on their shoulder to stop them. That's how I felt. Because I was like, oh, this is my year. This is my year. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get my blessing. And it's like Daddy God just put his hand on my shoulder. No, this is the year that you will receive your blessing. So I want you to all put that real quick, and then I'm going to come back and acknowledge. Put get your blessing versus receive your blessing. Now, in the interest of it just being shorter, you can put get versus receive. I said, this is the year that I will get my blessing. And just this calm, settling, kind of pull back type of resting came on me. It said, this is the year you will receive your blessing. So if you're tracking me, think about that. When you get something, if you get it, if you obtain it, it's in your hand, right? If you receive it, then you obtain it and it's in your hand. So either way, whether you get it or you receive it, it's in your hand. So why would Daddy God emphasize to me, correct me, redirect me from get to receive? If I get the blessing, it's in my hand. If I receive the blessing, it's in my hand. Why would he distinguish? What is he trying to delineate for me? What is he trying to delineate for you? Here's the simple crux of it. Get, if I got to go get my blessing, get is based off of my efforts. Understand? If I have to go get it, if I posture myself to go get it, then I posture myself to have to hustle, to have to work, to have to look for it, to have to go, do the whatever that is, the grind of getting it, of getting my blessing. I put the onus on myself to have what God has already said I can have. If I am going to receive my blessing, it means that I am in the posture of allowing God to do the work. Now, I'm not countering the theology or the scripture or the mandate that says faith without works is dead, right? There are times that God gives us things to do. This is dealing with our mindset. This is about recognizing that God has breakthrough for us. And we just have to get in step with him to receive it. We don't have to manufacture it. We don't have to strive. We don't have to go trying to find a blessing so we can get a blessing. We have to really receive. So say it right there again in your homes. This is my year. We have to really receive that this is our year. Receive it in our spirits. This is our year of breakthrough. And then we begin to align our eyesight to look for blessings, our spirits to receive blessings, our ears to hear blessings, because we understand that God has already, as we said before, gone into, y'all listen, God has gone into your March, honey. And he has put some blessings on day number 12 and day number 17. God has just right around the corner on January the 23rd or whatever that date is. God has planted blessings for you. Can you receive that? God has planted breakthroughs in your September, has already gone before you and planted breakthroughs in your July and planted breakthroughs in your August and put hedges of protection and around breakthroughs that are reserved for you. And God has already done that. And we have to live to receive it, right? We don't have to chase it, trying to go get it like it's going to leave off of that day. If God, who is Alpha and Omega, has already assigned a breakthrough to your life, you have to live, be in lockstep with it, and just receive it. It is yours. It is yours. So I'm going to continue to emphasize it, because I know when you have, we have experienced the other for so long, when we have waited for so long, when we have toiled for so long, hoped and prayed for so long, that sometimes it is difficult to really receive that something will be different about this year. But I am telling you what the Lord has placed in my spirit. This is your year, sis. This is your year, queen, of breakthrough. If you receive that, say, I receive it. I'm going to keep having you receive it, because with our words, we have to shape our world. With our words, we have to posture our spirits to receive what God has said for us, okay? So then here's the deal. Why then are we doing this wellness work? Because Daddy God has aligned breakthroughs for us. Y'all, it's there. If we don't think it, if we don't believe it, if we can't conceive it, perceive it, we will miss it. And it is our aim to move from malfunctioning to manifestation by prepping our minds, by training our minds, by nurturing our minds to receive, to see, to believe the blessing, the breakthrough that God has for us. I posted just a couple of days ago that there is this thing that it's basically an anxiety, right? That exists. It's a real condition. It's an anxiety that exists where people who have suffered for so much and lost so much, have been through so much, that they can actually live. And we hear it said this way: waiting for the other shoe to drop, believing that it's too good to be true. While those are very casual cliches, they're rooted in experiences that people have had. Some of you on this line that are watching now and will watch the replay would be able to say that you understand what it's like to get something good, but kind of be suspect of it, to kind of wonder, like, when is it going to fall apart? What's the other side of this? Some of us who are watching right now, if we were sitting together, we would raise our hand and say, that's me. That when someone comes along and they're genuinely kind and good to you, you still kind of watch over your shoulder like, what's going on? Because you've been burned before. Or someone who's desiring a relationship would have to raise their hand and admit and say, but I know that I'm the biggest hindrance because I don't trust. I've had too many things go wrong. And I'm just telling you, sis, that malfunctioning way of thinking has to change, because the breakthroughs and the blessings that God is bringing your way will require that your mind be well, so that you can receive people well, so that you can receive blessings well, so that you don't turn down your breakthrough out of doubt, and turn down your breakthrough out of mistrust, and turn down your relationship out of having been hurt before. God is dealing with our thinking so that as the breakthroughs come, we will be able to manifest them and receive them. Somebody say, I will not mess up my manifestation. I will not mess up my manifestation. I will not miss my manifestation. I will not mess up my own manifestation. And how do I know that? Because I'm doing the work already to change my malfunctioning thinking to a space where manifestation is possible. And so the first step in that silencing the silence process was to look at the negative thought. I know that I taught that the world often has taught us to squelch it, to not talk about it. Predominantly, for real, I know Jen, my friend, is on here, so this is still good, and others who may watch who may be of another cultural ethnicity, right? But oftentimes in African American cultures, y'all know that many things that impact us, we are told, don't talk about it. Don't air the family's dirty laundry. Put it under the rug. Sweep it under the rug. Don't talk about it. If you got a little bit of melanin in your skin and you know what I'm talking about, say, she right. That's the truth. That's how we're taught to address issues. Just kind of don't speak about it. And then sometimes even when you combine that with the strong faith component of how we believe, then oftentimes we're told just pray about it. And not that prayer is minimal, but prayer sometimes is the way that is utilized to keep us from articulating to one another, to a therapist, to a counselor, things that are happening in our world. And I have asked this question, and how's that working for you? That thought, when I went back to read what many women submitted, some of you said you have been battling with that thought for 20, 30, since childhood, all your life. It was rare, if any, that I found someone who said, oh, it's only been a few months. People who said they were battling rejection, battling low self-esteem, battling feeling insecure, battling abandonment, battling rejection. Many of you listen, you have been battling with those things for years, trying to silence those thoughts for years, trying to tuck them away for years. And I jump right into that pool with you and acknowledge again that my thought was, or came in the form of a question, am I good enough? And of course, each time that I would prepare to do something and that thought would come, I would answer it with some bit of hesitancy, some sense of a no, some sense of not quite, gotta do some more work, gotta do this, gotta do that. Am I good enough? But there came a time, as I said to you, when I was jogging in that park and Andre Day's song came through that headphone set and said, when the silence is not quiet, and I found myself standing in the park, literally, you all, with tears coming down my face, thinking about thoughts, because my silence really was not quiet, that I determined it is time. And let me say this with all humility. Now, I was doing this, you all, as a person with probably working on her 4th degree, right? As a person who had accomplished many aspirational goals, from being, like a principal, an adjunct professor, had written books, all of this stuff, but these thoughts were still coming in my head. And so I'm saying that to any of you who may feel as if, let me be disqualified from that. Let me tell you, as a way of holding space for you, it doesn't matter how accomplished you are. It doesn't matter what you may feel as if you look like or don't look like on the inside. These thoughts come to haunt each of us, and we have to own the responsibility of doing that work. Some of you have really looked at yours, and I appreciate the way you opened up. So mine was doing the work of it. Am I good enough? Right? So that is the first step for those of you who are tracking in the silence process. You got to look at it. You got to quit trying to just put it underneath the rug and not really address it. You have to open up that crinkled piece of paper where you've wrote it and toss it away, and you got to just look at it. And you got to address that thought. I must handle the thing that is trying to handle me. You got to look at that thought. And so for those of you who are here right now, you're bold enough to do so, don't mind sharing, go ahead. And even if you've put it on the other homework assignment, drop it into the comments right now. Let's do the work together right now. Go ahead and put yours in right now. For a sis who may be watching, a queen who hasn't done the work because she's kind of afraid. I know several of you put yours over there, but let me see some of those coming on back through where yours was fear. I fight the battle of fear. I fight the battle of rejection. I fight the battle. So you look at the thought. That's step number 1. Okay, and as you're adding yours to the dialogue, I'll move to step number 2. Step number 2, Sarah, is T3. It's what I call track the thought. T3, track the thought. That is step number 2. So for someone who's journaling or doing our scribing right now, go right there and add that in the comments as people are putting their thought out loud. Step number 2 is track the thought. Hear me on this. I'm going to loop several things, y'all. This is solid teaching for you. Hear me on this. Track the thought, right? Track the thought. What do I mean by that? The way that it looks in a process that I teach, which some of you are already planning to join me for, that's a quick plug. I posted several announcements this morning. That's part of my delay here because I given my word that the crew here would get first dibs at it. So several of you have already indicated joining me for our Silencing the Silence wellness work. Now, I can get moved by that. I'm so excited about the opportunity to slip away early in the morning just like this. So it's on a Saturday morning. It's January the 29th. It's 7 a.m. to 8:30. Why? 2 reasons. One, because I want to slip away into the quiet of a morning and do some very intimate personal work. So I'm reserving that for about 20 women. It will be via Zoom, and there's a link. There's a post that I've already done. It has the wellness work that Saturday. It's beautiful work. The wellness work that Saturday. There's also my devotional. Sarah, you already have bought one, so don't you go buy that book, Silencing It. My devotional's there, Queens See Queens, coming out finally. Been at work for over a year and a half. And I'm going to loop this to what we're talking about. And then many of you came and participated in our Wellcations overnight retreats last year. This year we're only doing 4, once a quarter, and they are Wellcations for a day. They're from, I want to say, 10 in the morning until the evening night, right? Lunch and dinner are provided. Those 3 things are posted. So I'm going to do several things right here together. One, I want to talk a little bit about the wellness work, that morning session, y'all. I envision that we will be on Zoom so that we can interact, and it will be reserved for maybe about 20 women because I want us to really be able to lean in and talk and do the work. So that's posted, and you have to get in because I'm going to cut it off. Again, the Wellcations and then my devotional is finally here. Okay, so I'm excited about it and want to share it with you all. But here's the link to what we're talking about today. Many of those things I have sat on for years. I have received whole boxes of books and thrown literally the whole box in the trash, except for the one that I gave to Sarah, because I trust Sarah. She's one of my since birth type of people. Not that I don't trust others, but Sarah has always believed in me enough to buy janky mess, even when the mess ain't right. So I sent it to her, but then I said, I have to do this again, right? And so what you will receive and what you will purchase is the version that when I looked at it, it represented where I saw myself. When I did the other one, it was like, well, it's not going to really sell anyway. Let me just do some of that, blah, blah, blah. No. So when you see me posting events and putting my things out there and even doing them at a price, this is me doing my own work. This is me saying, I do not care if just, well, I care, but I'm saying, I don't care if just one person purchases it. I have product that is worthy of being sold. I am good enough. This is me answering my own question to myself. Because what is it to teach you all to step out against the sound of the thought that's in your head if I don't do it myself? So you will see me pushing and pressing in that area, because now you understand, because my backdrop has been, am I good enough? Now there is a side of me that is very much nonprofit oriented, and there are certain things that I do because the Lord really has placed it on my heart to give that away, to do that for free, to do that as part of my contribution to the world. But I began to use that as an excuse to mask the thought of, am I good enough? So when I would produce products or produce events or share different things, and I would do them at no cost, I would justify it by saying, well, God has laid it on my heart to do some things for free. And that is absolutely true. God has, in the arena of my nonprofit, but in the arena of doing work like with the DGL, then that is supposed to be a business, but I did not believe in myself enough to just step out there and do it. So I'm sharing this with you all, and you will be able to process these similar things. I had to come to the place of understanding when I was even using my good to be an excuse to mask my fear. Are you following me? Are you following me? So these are not plugs for the sake of pushing product. This is me modeling what this type of work does. When you really begin to deal with yourself, you get to the crux of your truth. You get to the depth of why you operate as you do. So again, for those of you who want to do that intimate wellness work, that is already posted for you, and you're the first to know. And for me, then you get to see me walking through this with you so I can get moved by it, walking through this with you, silencing the noise that could even be in my own head that still lingers, even though I've done many things at this point, right? Still have to battle that thought. But you'll see it's out there. So even if you can't participate in any of it, go on over there and say, girl, I'm proud of you. Keep doing your stuff. Keep doing it and putting it out there. So all of that's listed. So that's what this wellness works looks like. It gives you a way to identify your thought, to really be truthful about how it impacts you, and then gives you actionable items to do to challenge that thought and to push you past what you think about you. So number one is look at the thought. Mine is, am I good enough? Number two then is to track the thought. Track it. Where did that come from? And I've done this work with some of you, and so the question looks very much like, when was the first time that you remember having that thought? If yours is, I'm going to be rejected. If yours is, you're no good. If yours is, am I good enough? If yours is, nobody will value me. When is the first time that you remember having that thought? Now, as I shared, for me, I remembered that moment in the park, the gentleman saying what he said to me. Then, though, when I said, the next question is, now, was there a time before that? And I sat with y'all and I said, yeah, it was. It was. I remember this other time. And then my partner had to say, well, was there a time before that? And I had to sit with it again and say, yeah, that was that time. There was that time that I was like, there was that time that I was as early as third grade going through some of my mama's papers like I shouldn't have been. And I saw a paper from the school and it had my name, and beside it, it had at risk. I remember that. Yeah. And was there a time before that? And I had to keep tracking the thought. Do you understand? That's what it looks like. So it started with, okay, I remember the gentleman in the school. Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember this. I do. I remember that. Oh, now I remember this. Oh, I remember seeing my name with at risk beside it. And because I was in my mama's stuff, I couldn't really go and talk to her about it. So as a third grade little girl, I've already housed in my mind and housed in my heart that something about me is at risk. And I don't really know all of what at risk means, but I know that's not good. I know something about that being by my name is not a good thing, right? And then, real simply, I've shared this other track of thought. I'll share a little bit of it. And so here's the thing, because we laugh. Those of you who've grown up with me in a similar church setting, we laugh about it today. But I remember, y'all, beginning to regret recess time at school. I remember that. And I remember, this is why many of us who grew up in my church upbringing as a child, we could not wear pants. Sarah, you may remember some of that, even if you didn't grow up in it. And I'm going to see if any other people are on here. If Darkest is on here, she'll certainly remember. We couldn't wear pants. Y'all, this is how intricate the wellness work is. And so my sisters and I, well, everybody in that, we had to wear dresses every single day, right? And so quite naturally then, with them long skirts and slips, I was not the best athlete. It was a very traditional conservative type of setting where women did certain things, men did certain things. So honey, I'm not knocking all parts of it. That's why G can barely, cut a yard or something like that today. Because there were certain things that were men work and certain things that were women work, and you dressed certain ways and you did certain things. And I was in them long skirts. So honey, quite naturally, I was not the best athlete at basketball, nor kickball, nor volleyball, anything that required that you do a whole lot of running and moving and jump. Honey, we had to sit down in those skirts. But this is how that translated into the mind of a child who is in elementary, where at that time, kids today, they ain't really got to worry about it like we did, but that's all kids did was play outside and get picked for teams. So you can imagine what most of my kindergarten through 5th grade looked like with recess, where people pick teams. Y'all can go ahead and do a quick vote and figure out, now, was I first to be picked? Was I midway being picked? Or was I last to be picked? Y'all take a guess. Which one do y'all think I was? Right? Many of you are already following me, right? I was consistently last to be picked. And as an adult, I now understand that. Now, honey, because you can't run fast in that skirt and slide and catch the ball and duck and dodge and jump high. I understand that. And picking teams was about winning. But the way that translated to me as a child was, you're not good enough. You're last to be picked. Nobody really wants you on their team. And so when I circle all the way back to that moment in the park, when it hits me in the gut and my tears come out, I realize that I'm not crying for the woman who now has a doctorate, who is well able to leave this school. I'm still processing the hurt or the intricate thought impact of that little girl, the woman who remembers the little girl who felt that same way. Are you understanding me? So tracking the thought is that type of work. It's that work of really beginning to see, where did I even begin to think this thing and bring this malfunctioning thought pattern into my life? Where did that even come from? And to be very honest, I've tracked it further than that. Because one day I was teaching this and I realized I had another thought, an earlier thought, even than that. But I'll share that in the private session, right? Because certain things I just share more privately because it impacts other people. So there you have it. That is an example of what tracking the thought looks like. Now, why is that critical for you? Why do you have to understand the necessity of tracking the thought? Here's why. Because when we track the thought, we get to the root of our thinking. Follow me here and I'll wrap up. When we track the thought, we get to the root of our thinking. When we track the thought, we get to the root of our thinking. And get this, because we're not trying to destroy the thought. We're not trying to fight the thought. We're trying to destroy the root. We're going after the root. We're trying to settle the root of the issue. And here's where that's scriptural. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. It's not the fiery darts of the thought that is the issue. It's how we think that is the issue. It's the malfunctioning in our thinking that will cause us to miss out on our breakthrough. But somebody say it right there with me again. I will not miss my manifestation this year. I will not miss it. And I liken it to this, you all, and I'll wrap up here. We track the thought because as we track the thought, we get to the root of our thinking. The thought is not the problem. The thinking is the issue. The thought is the symptom. The thinking is the wound, right? So we track the thought so that we can figure out where did that come from? And we can begin to unearth and pick apart and give our attention to dealing with the way that we think and how we begin to think that way. That in and of itself will begin to change the thought. Now I don't wait on the sidelines for somebody to pick me to be on their team. Now I create teams and pick myself. Now I create teams and I choose Gina, right? So when you understand what causes you, what triggers, what sets you up to have that thought, by tracking it, then you can begin to work on how you think about it. And you can be proactive and redesigning a thought pattern, a thinking pattern that will produce better thoughts for you. So I liken it to this. Just a week or two ago, I was outside of the center again, and I had to go outside to flip the breaker switch, right? And that happened a bit more frequently for a period of time where I have to go outside and flip the breaker switch because the lights would cut off. And then one day I called over the gentleman who had taught me how to flip the switch. And he went to an outlet, right? He went to an outlet and he pulled the cover off of the outlet in the house, and he saw that the wire had wrapped around a part of it, and that wire, when it got hot, had seared two wires together and kind of burnt the ends, right? And so what he did was he went ahead and he cut the bad wire out and he replaced the wire and then refixed it and put the panel back on. And guess what? That switch has not flipped anymore. I say that to liken it to what we're doing when we track the thoughts. Now, as long as I just go out there and flip the breaker switch, right, it makes the lights come back on for a moment and it pacifies what's not working for a moment. That's the same way, that's the same thing that happens when we look at our thoughts and we kind of squash them and we tuck them under the rug and we pray about it for a moment. It may seemingly fix what's not working for the moment, right? But the root cause, those bad wires in the wall, those bad wires that have been burned, that have been crossed, that if left unkept would eventually have started a fire, that's the root of the issue. And some of us have that same scenario going on inside of the walls of our minds. We know how to change our posture and put on a quick grin and sit up straight and make sure that nobody can tell that we feel rejected, or we feel as if we're not enough, or we feel as if we're in competition with folk and we're always losing. From our outside exterior, we know how to flip the breaker switch and just look as if everything is okay. But behind that cover panel, that those wires were melting together. Those wires were already burned together. Those wires could have eventually, but by God's grace, created a very dangerous and costly situation for us. And that is what happens to us when we fix the thought, the projection of how we're feeling on the exterior, but we don't fix it on the inside. When we don't get to those wires that are crossed, that are burned, that are twisted on the inside of us. That is what this process does. We are tracking the thought. So of course, I'm going to put an application thing up there, homework assignment as we do weekly, so that we can really sit with this, you all, and do the work. I acknowledge that sometimes it is hard. It is uncomfortable. It can be emotional. It can even be exhausting. But what I can tell you is it is so well worth it. Because this Gina that is before you today would not have been bold enough to post her own events, to put a cost to those events, to talk to you about why she does that, and then even to tell you outside of that that they're worthwhile events for you to attend, that your life will receive transformative help. This Gina would not have done that if she had not done the work, okay? So we don't want to miss what God has for us in this year. We are transitioning from malfunctioning thinking to manifestation. And we're starting right here. As I say often, without the glory, without the confetti, with no rah, 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 we're doing the stuff that will stand, that will last. Let's do the work. I appreciate you all so much for being here. As you go throughout your day today, understand that as you do this work, as you're looking at the thought that bothers you, as you're tracking where it comes from, don't be afraid that the enemy may try to bring a distractor, because what he does not want for us this year is that we are rooted and grounded and ready to receive everything that God has for us. But say it with me again, like you said it in the beginning. I will not miss my manifestation this year. Here's just a quick scripture reference for some of you who are waiting on that. I'm just going to pull up, as a man thinketh, so is he. Because that, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. I'm going to pull that up. It's Proverbs 23:7, and there's a deeper context to it, but it gives you the general gist. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. That's why we're working on our thinking. And what do I think this year? Y'all join with me. I think, honey, y'all say it too. I think that it's my year of breakthrough. I think that it's my year for manifestation. I think that I'm going to fulfill everything that God has ordained for my life. I think that surely goodness and mercy is following me. I think that this is the best community ever. I think that you're going to be successful. I think that you're going to manifest. I think that there's greatness on the inside of you. I think that every gift and talent has already gone before us and made room for us, for our physical bodies to join them in the room. I think that contracts and negotiations are coming your way that you could not have even imagined. I think that God is pouring out a blessing on your life that you won't even have room enough to receive. I think that God has already planted breakthrough in today for me and for you. I think that there's a breakthrough set up for you right around the corner on tomorrow morning. I think, what do you think? As a man thinketh, so is he. Let's work on that malfunctioning thinking so that we can experience manifestation. When? This year. God bless you all, Father. I thank you for the community. I thank you for the women who have joined right now. I thank you for the community, the members who will watch the replay. I thank you for each and every single one of us who are doing this necessary work to really walk in and receive, not have to go get, but receive the blessings that you've already planted into the year for us this year. I thank you that we're well, that our minds are functioning, that we have the thoughts of Christ, that we're thinking of ourselves as you think of us. And because we are, we will experience what you have for us this year in Jesus' name. All righty, y'all. We're going to go ahead and call it a day. And again, join our dear friend Jen on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. as she begins to just pray the more over this, as women do the work of just tracking their thoughts, figuring out what's going on inside of them. Of course, the homework will be posted for you to be able to participate. And on Friday, we come back with Freestyle Fridays where we just talk it all out and get it together, right? Again, the events are posted somewhere, like really just a few moments ago. So they're up top in the community. Get your seats reserved. Let's go. Let's go, y'all. All right. Take care. As always, I honor the greatness that's on the inside of you. Bye now.